Managers of Reddit out there in Reddit land. What's your best, so I had to fire this guy's story? Every manager has a good/bad/bizarre firing story. What's yours? We had a sales incentive my team hit their target for, so we all went to an island resort for a day to hang out, play volleyball, and ride quad bikes. At lunchtime, we put on a modest bar tab for our 50-odd team, around 2 beers each. People started buying their own beers and having a good time without going over the top. One of the top sales guns, we'd call him Marky, is mingling with the team, 5 meters away from his boss, with hundreds of meters of beautiful, deserted beaches in both directions. Marky pulls out the biggest blunt I've ever seen in my life and has it like it was the last one on earth. Really, his gusto was impressive. I gave him the "really, you're gonna do this right now" eyes, and so I had to fire the guy. The kicker is that he booked a room in the resort on the island for the night, and we were 5 minutes away from chatting the ferry up. And we were 5 minutes away from catching the ferry home. If he'd waited 10 minutes to blaze, it wouldn't have been on work time, and he'd still have a job. Deleted. I used to run a sports bar a few nights a week. One night, when I was off and the owner was supposed to be there running things, I got a call from one of the bartenders telling me that I needed to come in. When I got there, the owner was sitting in a booth in the back corner, passed out drunk. One of the bartenders was so drunk he was staggering around breaking things. The kitchen staff had walked out, one of the waitresses had burned herself trying to cook something, and the doorman was apologizing to an irate group of sports fans. Apparently, the owner and the drunk bartender had started pounding shots. The owner got drunk and screamed at everybody. The cook and dishwasher walked out with food still on the grill. I sent the drunk bartender home, sent the waitress to the ER, cooked up a bunch of food that was prepped and sent it out comped, closed the kitchen, comped around for the house, and we ended up having a fun night. Didn't make any money for the owner, but it was fun. After we closed, I took the manager home, and by then he was sober enough to be remorseful. He decided on the spot to hire me as a full-time manager, asked me to hire an assistant, and pretty much stayed out of the place from then on. In effect, I fired the owner. I have to say that's a classy decision by the owner, to realize he needed to stay away. After reading this, I imagined everyone in the bar except for you was children, barely above toddler age. We stood to walk in the tiny door and see a fire of the stove as the waitress sits there crying. Bartender is running around on a sugar rush, destroying everything and drawing on the walls with who knows what. I was a manager in a bank. We had a mandatory 3-day training before the person could start working in the branch. I got a call in the middle of the first day of training for my new hire. The trainer was asking where she was. I called her cell phone, and she said, "Well, it snowed a lot last night, so I assumed the training would be canceled. I'll just show up tomorrow." I told her that we would need to have to start the following week because all 3 days needed to be completed in order. She told me that wouldn't work because she had a 5-day Vegas vacation set next week. Never told me when she told me the start date. I should have fired her right there, but we didn't have any good applicants, so I gave her one more chance. I told her that no matter what, be at training. Next week, I got a call from the trainer asking where she was again. I called her, and she said, "My flight back from Vegas got delayed. I only had like 3 hours of sleep. I didn't want to show up tired and make a bad impression." So I fired her. So just let me know what other Reddit stories you would like me to read, and have a good night.